Snuggle up and let me read you a little something. Grab a seat, a bite to eat, and settle right in. For hugs, snuggles, stories, and more, and so many sweet things in store. Welcome to Afternoons with Mimi. Whoa, what's the rush? Where's the emergency?
I'm making sure the wizard doesn't see me.
The what? The who?
The wizard down the street. In the creepy house. All the kids know you have to hold your breath when you go by his house. You can't step foot on the lawn. And if he comes outside, you can't look him in the eye or he'll steal your energy away, Mimi.
Oh, okay. Have a glass of water and take a breath. Let's start over. The bus dropped you off today at the usual spot, right?
Yup.
And you and who else walked over here?
My friends. Theo and JD. Theo lives in the building across the street. And JD's grandma lives in that little building behind your backyard.
Uh-huh. And who started this whole thing about the wizard? As far as I'm aware, we have no wizards, witches, gremlins, trolls, dibbics, or other worldly entities in this neighborhood, and I should know. I've lived here a long time.
On the corner. The house with all the plants all over it and the crumbly paint. And the old weird car in the driveway. The lawn is never mowed. JD's cousin's big brother, who told JD's big brother, and he told us that a wizard lives there and his yard is full of booby-traps. His cousin said even their uncle knew about the creepy house when he was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
And the wizard lives there. He's old and he has long white hair and a big beard, and one of his eyes is a different color because he uses it to get his magic and steal your energy. That's why sometimes he doesn't look old. He comes out of the house and has short, dark hair, like Baba.
Right. You know, kiddo, judging people for what they look like isn't very kind. I'm surprised you think this. Here, hold that.
This basket? What are we... sorry, Mimi. He does look different sometimes, and his house is creepy. And if the big kids say he's a wizard, he must be, right? Right, Mimi? Right?
Big kids are cool, but they don't know everything. Here, take that too. There we go. Now we're all set. Come with me.
Mimi, where are we going? Who are we bringing these snacks to? Why are we going to... Oh no! Mimi, we're walking right over... We cannot go to the creepy house! Mimi, what are you doing?
Introducing you to a friend of mine while we do a mitzvah. Mr. Johansen. Hi. Hello.
Mimi, he's coming over here.
Kiddo, meet my neighbor, Mr. Johansen.
Well, hello, young man.
We brought you a little something.
Why, thank you so much. These soup mixes have been such a big help. Well, hey, neighbors. Aw, Adele, you shouldn't have. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, boy, I really appreciate you guys keeping tabs on my dad. With work, it's hard to get over here as often as I'd like.
Oh, not a problem at all. That's what neighbors are for. I'm glad to see you're healing up. Jake, you have my number, right?
Yes, I'll text you later.
All right. We'll let you get back to resting. Come along, kiddo.
Nice to meet you. Feel better.
Well, thank you, young man. I'll see you later.
Back home. Go ahead on in.
So, Mimi, he's not really a wizard?
No. Mr. Johansen is a sweet, quiet man. You don't remember this, but when you were a baby, he used to come over for Shabbat dinner and sing to you.
Oh, really? Like, he held me?
Yes, indeed. You used to settle right down. You loved his singing. And now would Ima or Baba or I let someone who wasn't a kind, good person we trusted hold you?
I guess not. So, he's not a wizard after all. And he doesn't transform. His son just comes over sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Now that that's all settled, would you like a snack?
Can I snuggle up and hear a story first?
Sure.
Okay. Mimi?
Yes?
Why did everyone tell me Mr. Johansen is a wizard if he's really just our sweet neighbor?
Well, sometimes when kids, well, people in general, see someone different from them or they don't understand something, they make up a story in their mind. And sometimes that story gets repeated so often and changed that people start to believe it as fact.
Oh, I see. Do you have a story about that?
I do indeed. Slide on over here, Neshama. Once upon a time, very long ago, there was a little village. And in the little village, there was a little boy named George. Now, George was mischievous. You know what that means, right?
Yes, he sometimes liked to cause trouble.
Correct. George would try to listen in on the grown-ups' conversation or his friends, but he would get so excited he wouldn't hear the full story. Instead, he would run off to share the secrets he had learned with anyone who would listen.
Uh-oh.
Yep. One day, George saw Mr. Miller taking a package and some letters off of his neighbor, Mrs. Burton's porch. George ran through the village. "Thief! Thief! Mr. Miller is robbing Mrs. Burton's house!" People got all worked up and nervous. Mr. Miller stealing? Would he steal from them next? Luckily, the mayor calmed everyone down. "Everyone relax," he said. "Mrs. Burton is on vacation. She asked Mr. Miller to hold on to her mail and packages until she gets back." "Oh," the crowd said before departing. The mayor motioned for George to join him. "I have a project for you, George." "For me?" asked George. He felt important talking to the mayor. The mayor motioned for George to walk across the street with him to the community garden. He handed George a bag of dried leaves. "George," said the mayor, "go spread these throughout the village. They're good for compost. Then come right back here." So George did as he was told. He spread some leaves by the playground, down the street near the shul, in front of his own family's house, near the post office, and for good measure, near Mrs. Burton's driveway. By the time he ran back to the mayor, he was out of breath. The wind was starting to pick up. "Okay," George said to the mayor. "All done. Anything else for me?" "Yes," said the mayor. "Go back and collect all of the leaves now, please." "What?" said George. "You heard me," replied the mayor. But it's windy out. How will I possibly—" But the mayor cut him off. "You better get started now, George." George ran all over town, but the leaves were swirling in the wind. The little pile by the shul was flying down the street, swirling all over. He could barely grab a single leaf. Exhausted and frustrated, he walked back to the mayor. "I'm sorry," George told the mayor. "It's just impossible to get all those leaves back." The mayor smiled. He took a deep breath and crouched down so he was eye level to George. "George," the mayor began, "I did not expect you to find all of those leaves. But the stories you repeat, the things you say about your friends and the people in the village, once they're out there, George, they're out there. Like the leaves. You cannot get them back once they start blowing all over the place. Same with your stories." And so George changed. He became a good listener, but he never made up or repeated a story again. The end. What do you think of that story?
I think I'd like to make a card for Mr. Johansen.
That's nice.
Yeah, to help him feel better. And because I'm sorry I thought he was a wizard.
That's lovely, honey.
And Mimi?
Yes, my heart?
Can we bring him Shabbat dinner next week?
Absolutely. There are 2 lessons Kiddo learns in this episode. Not to judge people by appearances, and also not to spread or listen to gossip. For us grown-ups like Mimi, our job is to help children like Kiddo learn the difference between sharing something interesting and important or sharing something that might be false or hurtful. To learn more, visit our website, pjlibrary.org.